So right here in the events folder, I'm going to create a new file, call it crm.js, and we can take a look at one of these other files to make sure that we are building it correctly. So it looks like it's pulling from app and pub/sub. We'll just grab those. If we need any of these other things, we can grab them too. App is going to be useful for actually getting the system out of the database, and then pub/sub is what we use to publish our changes to a subscription. Okay, let's close that and pull up our CRM typedef and add some mutations. So I've got here this CRM activate that I needed in order to be a placeholder. Let me change this so it's CRM set activated. So we only need one mutation to activate it or deactivate it. And then we need to put the parameters in here. That'll be the ID of the CRM system and then the state, which will be a Boolean. Again, all mutations in Thorium return strings. They don't return any data because that data will be handled by the subscription. Let's write just a couple of more mutations right here, like CRM set password. I can take a look at my class and see the changes that I made, or the methods that I made, see if there's anything else that needs to be added. And that's basically it right now. We won't worry about the fighters or the enemies. It'll be a little complicated to handle that. So we'll just stick with these two mutations for the time being. Keep this open because we're going to be calling these methods and we want to make sure we remember them. There are two ways that you can write the events. In either case, you are going to have an app.on and then the name of the event that you're adding. So in this case, we have two. One of them is CRM set activated. The next is going to be a function, and the function parameters are going to be the arguments that are passed. So I get the ID and state out of this mutation. Then in here, I can perform whatever action needs to happen. It helps to have a helper function at the top. So I'm just going to have a function for performing the action. And it's going to take two arguments. One of them is going to be the ID, and one of them is going to be the action. The action is going to be a function. So what we'll do is have it grab the stuff that it needs, the system. We grab it off of the systems array in app. Let's, at the very end of this action, add our pub/sub publish. First is going to be the name of our subscription, which is CRM update. And then the second argument is going to be the payload, which is passed in as root query in these functions. And we want it to be our system itself, which we just grabbed up here. We can also add a little check to make sure that the system actually exists. So if we don't have the system, then we can just return it won't perform any action. But if we do have the system, then we want to actually perform our action, which is up here. It's going to be a function. Let's pass our system to the function, and then that'll do whatever we need to do with our system. Using this helper method is actually pretty great, pretty simple. All we have to do is just call it on one line. We pass our ID, we pass a function. That function takes a system as what it's passed, and then we just do whatever method we need to do on it. So let's open up our class, and we can see that the method for setting it activated is setActivated. So we go sys.setActivated, and then we pass it the state, and that's all we have to do there. Okay, CRM set password, and then we just have to call the method here, which is change password, and then pass the password to that. One thing that I forgot to mention when writing events for your system is to make sure that it is included in some global events. There's only one that I can think of that's going to make a difference for our system, and that's the events that happen in the systems events file. As we can see here, there's this giant send update function, which takes a system and performs a publish based on what type of system that is. So take, for example, when we damage a system, it's going to perform the actual system damaging down here, system.break, but then it needs to actually send the update to that system. Now, since our cards aren't going to subscribe to getting system updates for every system about damage and whatever, we can just subscribe to those updates for our system specifically. The only problem is we need to make sure that that update actually gets sent properly. So really quick, I'm just going to make sure I have the name of my subscription here correctly. And in this send update, I'm going to do a publish based on the class of the system. If the class is CRM, then we can go ahead and publish with our CRM system, which is just going to be sys, the system that was passed in. Now, whenever we damage the system or change the power to the system, it's going to properly send the updates for that change. We are really close to being able to test this functionality. The one thing that we're missing is actually instantiating the system itself. So we can do that through GraphQL. Let's give it a shot.